Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are finished. We are about to start our last unit in geometry. Again, continuing on with circles. So our first section of this last unit is what are the properties of arcs and chords and how can they be used in problem solving? So in the first blank it says a circle measures blank degrees. So if I was in class with you, we would write 360 degrees, okay? So again, that is how many degrees are in a circle. All right. So we're going to start with the definition to the right. First, we're going to start with central angle. This is the angle whose vertex is the center of the circle. The central angle separates a circle into arcs. So the first central angle we would see is angle CAB. Okay. Or we could write angle BAC. Now, if you notice the similarities between these two, first of all, using the same three letters. However, the A is the middle part of each angle. So again, remember the middle part is always our vertex or our middle, or where the middle of the arc. Of the angle. And so either way, you could label it as CAB or BAC. Now again, on the test, I won't trip. Either way, you can write it either way. All right, so the next thing we're going to talk about is, and I also want you to write over here, I want you to, hold on that, sorry. Let's go back to minor arc. So if a minor arc, this is if a measure of a central angle is less than 180 degrees, then it forms a minor arc. So under this one, I want you to write name with two letters. And you'll understand why in a minute, why we're saying two letters. So we would say arc BC. And we always take the short route. So short route. Okay? So again, with the minor arc, we always say the short route. And you'll see in a minute why we were talking about the short route. Remember, if I'm telling you directions how to get to Walmart, I'm not going to tell you to go through Attapogas, then Havana, then Quincy, and then come back to Bainbridge Walmart. I'm going to tell you the shortest distance. So that is for a minor arc. All right. For a major arc, the name is going to have, instead of two letters, it's going to have three letters. All right. And here we would say arc BDC. So BDC. And again, we want the long route. All right, so this time we want the long way. So this time I would actually tell you to go through, go to Attapogas, then maybe not Quincy, but we'd say Attapogas, and then go to Bainbridge Walmart, that sort of thing. All right, and so a semicircle is an arc whose endpoints are the endpoints of a diameter, basically is half of a circle. So again, in class, I'll prompt you guys to say, well, what is half a circle? So you should know it's a semicircle. So here we can label it as arc CD or arc CBD. Again, I didn't choose these letters. All right. So let's go ahead and label this circle to the left. All right. So first of all, I want you to write in this big section, which is the half circle. I want you to write semicircle. Okay. And I want you to write 180 degrees. Okay. So we know that a semicircle is 180 degrees. In this angle, or this little piece, it looks like a pie, but anyway, this part, I want you to write central angle, and we're going to put a 75 here. We're going to say that the central angle measures 75 degrees. All right? So, now you can't do this, unfortunately, and I apologize for this, but I'll try to, well, never mind. I was going to say, this is where I'll change colors on you, sorry. All right, so for this part, now I do want you to label it this way, but you're not going to be able to change colors like I am. All right, I want you to say this is the minor arc. All right, and we'll talk about what that measurement is later, but basically for right now, I want you to write 75 degrees. We'll get more into that about what that means. All right. Then the next part I want you to write is, again, I'm going to change colors on you. I apologize. We'll go with blue this time. All right. So here, if you trace this out, and I apologize for my unsteady hand, but even drawing on my iPad is not as steady as I'd like it to be. All right. This time in the blue, or on the left side, on the right side of your circle, I want you to write major arc. All right. And we'll talk about that measurement as well. All right. So again, the minor arc is in red. That's the smaller part. So a minor arc should be less than 180, like we said, smaller than a semicircle. Whereas a major arc, it can be as big as 180, or actually, let me draw out the other part of this. I'm sorry, I'm looking at my notes. This right here is all part of a major arc. Okay, because remember we said CBD or CBD. All right, it says CD or CDB. All right, actually, let me change that real quick because I just realized the lettering of that would be, I'm sorry, BCD. I'm sorry, BCD. I'm sorry, I got that right. Let me go back to black. All right, so next we're going to talk about how we find the degrees. It's one thing to identify them, but the measurement of these arcs is going to be that. All right, so the minor arc is always going to be your central angle. So write central angle. All right, and we already wrote 75 degrees, sorry, in that diagram at the top. The major arc, you're going to add all of the arcs. And you'll see in just a moment as we work out some problems, we're going to add up all the arcs. So a major arc is always going to have smaller parts or minor arcs that's going to be a part of it. And then the easiest one is semicircle, which we just said, it's going to be 180 degrees. It's going to be half a circle. So that's the easiest one we're going to deal with. All right, so let's do some examples. All right, before we get started on example number 1, I need to tell you this part here is 72 degrees. I tell you this part right here is 38 degrees. And that's enough. All right, so now we want to measure a CD. All right, so CD, remember, since it's just 2 letters, we know it's going to be a minor arc. So we don't want to go around the world like that. You see what I'm saying? We don't want to do that. So what we actually want to do is we actually want to go from here to here. All right, so that would be our minor arc. All right, so to figure that part out, what we have to do is remember that if you notice it's 72 degrees and this other side, BFC, CFD also makes a semicircle. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over here and we're going to say 180 minus 72. And that's going to give us 108. So that means that this angle right here is 108 degrees. So that means that since this F is central to CD, that means that arc CD is 108 degrees. All right, now let's move on to angle arc AEC. So again, AEC. So again, like I said, if I was in class, I'd have a little steadier hand. Now you always want to follow the order of the letters. I don't want to go around the opposite way. You always want to go in the direction of the thing. So if I'm telling you directions like you're going to go to the new middle school, then you go Dollar General, and then you go to UP Express, I'm telling you to follow that route. I'm not telling you to go this way, go around this way, or go around that way. I'm telling you to stay following each of those points that I told you. So AEC, we have 38 degrees for AE. All right, ED, what we have to do is figure out. Now we're going to visit our old friend. Now remember I told you on the first day of school, well, the first unit of school, we were going to come back to this a lot. So unfortunately, I'm not there to show you a bow tie. But if you notice, BCD, which I'm going to highlight right here, BFC is a bow tie with this angle here. So that means this is also 72 degrees. So now that we have our angles, we have 38, 72, and 102, we're going to add those together. So it's at 108 plus 72 plus 38. And we should wind up with 218 degrees. So we're going to put 218 degrees here. Now, what I suggest you do, just like when we did with other figures, go ahead and find out the measurement of all your pieces. That way, when you need to add them together, you already have them. You won't have to worry about trying to subtract or see if it's a bow tie or whatever else. All right, next we're going to talk about is BE. So BE is this arc right here. So again, it's 2 letters. And again, we always want to go the shortest route. So the shortest route here is going to be, we're going to, erase this right here. We're going to add 38 and this angle here. Now, to figure out what this angle here is, it's not technically a bow tie 108. Yes, it is. I'm sorry. I'm tripping. I apologize for that. It is a bow tie 108. So that's also going to be 108. I apologize for that. So again, if it looks like a bow tie, it's a bow tie, guys. So remember that BE is a bow tie. I was looking at BA. Sorry about that. That's where I was making my mistake. And then lastly, CE. So CE, if you look at it either way, if you go to the left like this, or you go to the right like this, you will notice it's a semicircle. So a semicircle is 180 degrees. All right. I would ask at this point any questions, but if you need to pause and go back and rewind, that's fine. All right, next is more to the next one. All right, so I got to tell you that this angle is 102 degrees. I got to tell you this angle right here is 50 degrees. All right, so now let's finish it out. All right, so we want CD, so we want this little piece right here, and again, I'm going to highlight it. So we want those 2 pieces there, those 2 letters there. So if you notice, all of this, which again, I'm going to draw a line, all of this is a semicircle. So the easiest thing to do would be to add 102 plus 50 and get 152, and then subtract that from 180 to get 28. So that's how we wound up with 28 degrees for that one, okay? So that would be the easiest thing. So let's go ahead and put 28 here because we may need it for something else. All right, so now I'm going to erase my arithmetic or subtraction and addition, and we're going to the next part. All right, AC. Now remember, AC is 2 letters, so that means it's going to be less than 180, so we're not going to take the long route, we're going to take the short route. So again, this is the route we're going to take. I apologize for the shakiness of my Apple Pencil. All right, so we're AC, so that means we're going to take 102, 28, but also, I'm sorry, 102, we're not going to use 28, I apologize for that. We're going to use 102 and this angle right here. Now again, notice what this forms. This right here and this right here are is a bow tie. So that means that that's 50 degrees. So I'm going to erase that. So that means that this is 50 degrees because this is a bow tie. So now we have 50 and 102, which we've already said is 152. All right. Give me a second to write that down. All right. Next one we got is BAD. So, again, I didn't come up with these letters. So, again, we want to go B, A, and then again trace it around D. Now, we've already, if you notice, we got 50 and 50. We also have one other part. This part right here. Now, this is not technically a bow tie, but what we can do is we notice that as we go to BA and E, that's a semicircle, right? So as we go to BA and then E, that's a semicircle. So what we're going to do is, since BAE is a semicircle, we're just going to go ahead and know that that's going to be, erase my line here, we know that that is going to be 180. Okay, so then we're going to say, 180 minus 50. I got a little ahead of myself. It's going to be 130. So that means that this part right here is also going to be 130. Okay, so now we're going to say 50 plus 50 plus 130, and we should wind up with 230. So this is going to be 230 degrees. All right. And then our last arc we were asked to find on this one. Again, where's my computations or calculations? and we got CAB. So we have C, and remember, we always, since it's 3 letters, we always want to go the long route. So we're going to go C, A, and B. Now, if you notice, the shortest way to do this is, think about it. Instead of adding all of these angles, all these arcs or angles together, why not notice that we don't use BC? So why not say 360 minus 102? All right, and that would give us 258. So a lot of times with these guys, and ladies, there are 2 ways you can solve it. You can either add all your angles together, or you could just subtract from a bigger number. So again, I'm gonna leave it up to you which one to decide to do. All right, so there's a part 2 to this video. We will, hopefully you'll take a mental break and make sure you have all the notes written down, and then come back to part 2. It's just gonna be working out 2 more examples. All right, thank you for your attention, and stay tuned for part 2.